Sources of information, and they're vast, ladies and gentlemen, vast. 4 main categories are human intel, field intelligence, electronic, and scientific. Human intelligence, that James Bond type thing, always talking to people, trying to work things out. Field intelligence, where you're actually observing an enemy or an adversary in the field to see what their troop movements are, to see exactly what is going on. Electronic, that is our electronic magnetic resonance imaging of everything that we do. Your cell phone, your laptop, your tablet, all emit electronic information. A combatant would want to know that. A combatant would want to try to seize that information. It's so critical that in this day and age of instant communication, that electronic or those electronic magnetic resonance images be captured, analyzed, and disseminated. And then finally, scientific information. That is where actually you're analyzing a compound or a subject or something within being a kinetic learner or a scientist, where you have to put your hands on it to try to resolve it. Whether it be a communications code, whether it be anything at all, you really have to start thinking about why you want to analyze it, and in the end result, can you use that scientific information in your sources. Types of information. Background information or general information or background information provides information about the environment surrounding the information required. It is general in nature and discusses the content in which the information requirement exists. That's general. There's also specific information that directly addresses the information requirements. This type of information usually relates to the entity, event, or phenomenon that is subject of the information required. Now, you're going to have to remember that, because general information, think about the time you look out the window in the morning before you leave for your daily errands or your job or school or whatever it is it might be that you have to leave your abode, your apartment, your room, your house, whatever it might be. You look out the window, you see what the weather is, so you dress appropriately. Obviously, you don't wear shorts and flip-flops when it's snowing, or you don't wear a long, heavy insulated coat and big boots when it's sunny and 70 out. That would be general information that could go over into specific information if you decide to take an umbrella. Then that would be specific because you know it's raining. Those, ladies and gentlemen, are key to deciding between general and specific information. Specific is, does it relate to the exact task at hand, or is it generalized when you see, oh, it's cloudy? Then you'd be more specific. Well, is it raining? Is something falling from the sky? Things of that stuff. Types of information. Open source, closed source, open source, closed source. General information, there'd be open sources like the news, putting your things that you can see in your visible world, or closed source. Somebody tells you something in confidence at work, or it's a work item that might have proprietary dealings with it. And specific information, same thing. When you gather information, we need to be careful of whether it is open or closed source information. It may limit the ways we can disseminate the information. Obviously, in the civilian world, we cannot disseminate, if we even know it, sensitive information that we know that is classified if we would come across it by accident or construct. So we have to be very careful. It could be proprietary to your business. There are many manufacturing processes out there that the manufacturer doesn't want the general public or its competitors to know. So that would be very time sensitive and critical as far as that open or closed source information. Closed source information is information that is confidential and not publicly available, such as informant reports or confidential informants within the criminal justice community, investigative reports, and the kinds of informants: confidentially, involuntary, voluntary, special, and anonymous. Sometimes people tell you things and say, look, I didn't tell you this, but that would be an anonymous source, or it would be special, confidential. Voluntary is when people just blurt things out. Under the law, that's called a res justi statement. And if they blurt it out, well, then you can use it. However, if you're asking them specific questions and they would divulge information, you're going to have to decide whether to release that or not. Usually, in hindsight, you really shouldn't release it because it could be embarrassing to the person that told you. And obviously, we don't want that. Closed source information usually contained a security classification. Or as it told you in confidence, it's restricted, confidential, highly protected, secret, top secret, or there's another code above that, but we're not going to discuss this for this class today. Those are sources of information that you really need to be cognizant of and take time and make sure that if you get it from one of those sources, you have to be very careful. Or it could you can actually run afoul of law enforcement or the government. Closed source information, no security classification, but there is a warning or caveat, a proviso, that limits dissemination to the public. You have to take a look at that as well. Open source information, open source public information that is publicly available. It's common knowledge. It could be raw information on the interweb, as I call it. Not all that information is true. Information and opinions, expert reports, technical data, unstructured text, multimedia, all those things are on the web every day. When people blog or I have a blog, that's just micro-publishing. All that stuff is not true, but it is available. It is up to you, the consumer, to decide what is true and what is not true. We do have a lot of fake news out there, so start being a critical thinking. And critical thinking is nothing more than just think about thinking. Where are you getting your information from? Is it multiple sources? Are they trustworthy? Are they not? Look at the website URL. If it's from .gov, it's probably trustworthy. If it's from something else, it might not be. You have to be very careful as a consumer of that open information. You can look at open source information, or OSI, included in the following: libraries, bookstores, publishers, intranets, specialized data collection and reporting services, market research or business intelligence services, all that stuff, professional associates, university or research institutes, public institutes.